Welcome back to Diary of an Introverted Author. My name is Bobby Lou, and I'm the author of 3 published novels, Desperate Girls, Baby Pawn, and For You I Would. All of them are available on Amazon.com. I have a children's book coming out on 1010. It is not under my Bobby Lou name, but that's coming out on 1010. I have a novella, which if you heard the last episode, that will be coming out shortly. My fingers are crossed for 1010 because that was the original release date before I got off track this summer. And I did get it back from the editor. I made my corrections and I've sent it off to the proofreader. I'm hoping that I'm able to publish it by 1010, but if not, no worries. It will still be published this month. I am still grappling with whether I'm going to give that away as a freebie or if I'm going to well, it's definitely going to go on Amazon.com, but I'm thinking about giving away as a freebie as well. Now that I just mentioned freebies, before I forget, make sure that you look at the notes because there are 2 links in there. One is for the short stories that's still available. That'll be available, I think, until October 11th, if I'm not mistaken. But then that link will no longer work. And then there's a new one for Christian fiction books. There's several books in there. Take a look, see what you like, and definitely grab a couple of books for free. I do like to say, like, they're for free, but you do have to sign up for an author's newsletter, which that is so insignificant in terms of the whole big scheme of things. You're getting a free book, and you're getting some information from a great author. So definitely sign up. All right, so this is for my new listeners. This is the Page One series. This is a series where I discuss some of the mistakes that I've made as a new author. When I first created this platform, it was for readers, and somewhere I blurred the line, and now it was a mix up of everything. And now it is, I'm separating it by titles. But I did figure out that I just need to create a section. I'm trying to see if I can use the platforms that I have and create that section, or if I've got to create a new section. Either way, in the end, there will be a podcast for Page One, and then there will be the blog with a voiceover for my readers. And so the content will be slightly different, and you can stay on both if you want to. If not, then I will definitely let you know once I make that change, and you should be able to unsubscribe from the one you don't want, still staying subscribed to the other. So I'll let you know when that happens because I don't want to lose you before then. If you unsubscribe now, then you won't get me at all. So I'll let you know when that happens, and you can make that decision at that point. Today we're talking about, last episode we talked about not getting started or not being able to continue writing to completion. Today we're talking about a couple of things that I think it's primarily for newer authors, because for seasoned authors, if you've been writing for a minute and if you're publishing especially, you've already mastered these things before, or else you would not be along that journey or making progress along your journey. And what I want to talk about is perfectionism, comparison, and managing expectation. All 3 together, I think any of those 3, if we're mismanaging or if we're falling prey to any of those 3, they can stifle our creativity. So the first one I want to talk about is perfectionism, and this is one that I have spoken about it in some of my other blogs and podcasts. This is one that I grappled with for such a long time. And I want to say, like, it wasn't until I did my last Page One podcast that I realized it may not have been Page One. I think it was before I did the Page One podcast. It might have been in August. But I had discussed it before, and it wasn't until I put it out there that I thought about that maybe this was the reason why I did not continue writing as a teen. I wrote poetry, but I had written a short story for a class, and I really loved it. And that was where I determined, like, this whole process is for me. Like, I want it, I like it, I'm going to do it. And then when I got my paperback, when I got the paperback, it was a B and not an A. And I just, I had no reaction, actually. I just shoved it in my book, put my book in my book bag, and then walked out, and then that was it. I never thought about it again until like years later. So, but I'm wondering if this was one of those things that because of my expectation, so maybe it fits both of those categories. Because of my expectation, and it didn't meet my expectation of getting an A, that messed with my head a little bit. I don't know, but it's just interesting for me to kind of think about why I didn't continue at that point. But perfectionism looks different for everyone. For me, it's getting stuck. It's in that little loop of writing and then rewriting, or writing and correcting. I can write something on a Monday and then Tuesday morning wake up and want to change it. And I know that about myself because, when I look at it, I always think, well, that would sound better like this. And for some reason, I don't know why, but anytime I continue to look at my work, I always see a way to make it better. And sometimes I'm changing the same sentence like 3 or 4 times. And I don't think that something makes me think that me changing it is not really making it better. In an effort to make it perfect, I have to keep tinkering with it. Um, but it's never going to be perfect. And if it was, then I would have been a published author years and years and years ago. And I wasn't, because I kept going in that circle. And for me, it looks like getting stuck. For someone else, it might look like self-doubt. It may look like procrastination, not wanting to do it because you feel like you can't get it perfect. Or it may look like, complete writer's block where you can't get anything on paper. So it just depends. But I think for everyone, some of the things to combat it is the same. It's silencing the inner critic. When I decided that I was going to release what I had, knowing that it may not be the best of the best of the best, that was my way of saying, I want it. It's in my heart. I want it. I'm doing it. And then I let it go. That's for me, that was something that I had to do, because I did not want to keep running in circles. I did not want to add on another 25, 30 years and still not have published anything or even completed anything. As an individual, I know I'm not perfect. I realize that. However, I think everyone feels the same. We know we're not perfect, but then we want to make something as close to perfect, if not perfect, as we can get it. And sometimes that's just not possible. So valuing the imperfection, accepting it and valuing it, because we are all human and we're all imperfect, and we all, I know that for myself, I know that there's people that I see, and like when they make a mistake or they acknowledge they did something wrong, or I can see the error even though they can't see it yet, it makes them feel more human, so it makes me be able to relate more to them. I want to say I'm not sure if I can appreciate someone who is perfect all the time. It would make me question. For myself, I know, when I see the imperfections in somebody else, it makes me feel better because I know that I'm imperfect. Setting realistic goals, which I think we'll talk about this a little bit with the managing expectations. Setting realistic goals is important. For me, again, my goal is to get it to the best that I can get it. And then when I get to that point where I've checked off all the boxes, if I'm still unhappy with it, I may sit with it for a little bit longer, but then I just resolve to let it go. And, if I have to clean something up after the fact, okay. If I have to learn how to do it correctly moving forward and tackling it the next time, then I'll do that. But if I continue to hold on to it, 9 times out of 10, I'm holding on to that thing for life. I'm not letting it go. So you're setting realistic goals, having my check off list to know that I've done this, and this, and let it go. Celebrating the small things, celebrating, the progress that you've made. And then I also think, embracing the learning curve. This is, as a new writer, I know already that this journey is a journey where I'm going to consistently be learning and growing. And I'm okay with that. I appreciate that. So the fact that I already know that, I know what to expect. The more I write, the better I'll get. The more I learn, the better my writing will be. It's like, and that'll be the circle I'll be in. Like, it'll be learning more, writing more, getting better. Uh, and I'm okay with that. So those are some of the things that we can do to combat perfectionism: silencing the inner critic, valuing imperfection, embracing the learning curve, and setting realistic goals, as well as celebrating the small things, celebrating our progress. The next one is comparison, and this one I don't have to deal with at all, thankfully. Not to say I've never dealt with it before, but at this point in my life, like, I love who I am. I don't care if someone else is doing it better than me. I might look to them to get advice or to see, what pieces they're doing different, so I can do those pieces. But in terms of comparing them, and in a way that makes me feel bad, which a lot of times comparison will do that. You'll compare yourself to someone else, and because you're not comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, you don't realize that their path is different than yours. So sometimes comparison can make someone self-doubt themselves, or just have poor feelings about who they are and what they have to offer. For myself, like, I know that I'm a different bird. I know that I'm quirky. I know that I am extremely introverted. I know that if I compare my if I if I compare myself to someone else, it is so not apples to apples, and I'm okay with that. Like, I've spent a good bulk of my adult life learning how to love who I am. And I'm at that place where I do. Now, does that mean that I can't learn from somebody else? Absolutely not. I learn from other people all the time. But does that mean that I'm going to compare myself to somebody else and feel bad because I'm not where they are? Not going to do it. Not going to do it. So, I have been in that space before. I'm just not there right now. When we talk about new writers, I think this is one of those traps that is so easy to fall into. So it's important to kind of catch it when you do, and question, like, well, why am I comparing? And are you comparing, like, when you're comparing, like, because comparison doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but when you're comparing, are you doing it with the mindset of you're going to take away these pieces to implement, or to kind of just look at how they're doing things? But when you walk away, you're still intact. Your self-esteem is still great. You're still feeling good about you. Or are you walking away feeling bad about yourself? Like, if you're feeling bad about yourself, or you're doubting yourself, then it's not a good thing. Some of those things that can help in terms of getting out of the cycle of comparison is defining what personal success looks like to you. For everyone, it's different. We're all from different backgrounds, experiences. Like, my success will definitely look different than someone else's success. So just learning what success means to you. I think also, getting a positive writing community together, not one where you're listening to somebody dictate, or point out all the errors, or, like, you have to have something where there's a good balance. I have a lot of yes people in my life, which sometimes hinders me. I like people to be blunt with me, but for some reason, all the people that are close to me in my life, they're not. They all the best of intentions, but I want someone to correct when I need correction, and to tell me, that's not your best right there. It's okay, you're working on it, but that's not where it needs to be yet. Like, I need someone that says that. And I think everyone needs that. So finding a writing community where you get that supportive, positive criticism, like, you have someone that gives you the, no, this isn't great, but look at this, and let me show you how to get it better. Or, I like where you did it here, do more of that. Somewhere that can support you in that way. And I have to say, no disrespect to the people in my life, because they're awesome, I love them. They're not writers, so it's different. So you've got to get a community of like-minded individuals when it comes to your writing, that they know the value of writing. They know the wants of a lot of the writers, and where writers want to go with their work, and just can offer that support from that perspective. So that's something else that you can do. Understand that everyone's path is different, individual, unique. We are all unique, and that's a beautiful thing. And then the last thing is just to celebrate small wins. I think it's always important to celebrate small wins. When we celebrate the things that we're doing right, then that helps us, it propels us to continue moving forward and doing the things that are right, and increasing the things that we have in front of us, so that we're growing and we're making more progress. So the last thing is managing expectations. This is one of the ones that I grapple with a lot this weekend. I did really good, but that's probably because I knew I was going to do this podcast. But in terms of managing expectations, this is a huge one, because if we're not managing expectations, then sometimes things get away from us. For myself, this comes in the form of writing a list of to-do things and not getting them done, and then feeling poorly about myself because of that. So I have to, this weekend, what I did was I wrote my list, and then by the ones that I knew I had a hard stop on because there was a deadline, or because I had to do one thing before I could start something else, like whatever the case was, there was some hard goals that I needed to meet. Those I put an asterisk beside, and then all the others, like if I got to it, great. But if I didn't, not the end of the world. Usually what I do is I write a whole long list, and if I don't get that whole long list done, then I'm critical of myself. And so this weekend I did it in a better fashion. I was much better about it. I didn't get everything on the list done, but I did get my starred items done, which is what the main goal was. Setting realistic goals. So that was one of the big things for me. It's not realistic to have a whole page of to-dos and think I'm going to get everything done, because obviously life is happening, and sometimes I get off track. And then I have a dog that wants to go outside every few minutes, and then my brain gets, I'm thinking one thing, and all of a sudden I'm thinking something totally different, and I forgot the first thing, so there's stuff going on. But if I know, like if I have my list and I know for sure, like, these are the points I got to hit on, then I can do that and feel good about it when I finish, and still don't have half the stuff done on the list, but have all the definite to-dos done. So for me, like, knowing with my expectations, knowing what is required in that moment or for that day, and then being honest with myself about, how serious am I, and how dedicated am I, and how many outside things are going to interfere. Sometimes you got to look at the big picture for that. And then, the writing process timeline. I am so horrible with this. So I guess it was because I got so silly, giddy, excited, all the things, that I was able to complete a manuscript that I wrote several more. Some were novellas and a couple are full length. But I had gotten so excited about the process that I wrote several more. And now that the excitement has wore off a tad bit, but then there's other things that are bubbling up as well, I have zero patience for some aspects of the process. I've never really enjoyed editing, but I know that you have to edit. There's no way around that. I know that I have to, if I get out of routine, then that kind of messes me up a little bit. But I know that there is a process for writing, and it's not all quick. Sometimes you have to slow down, and I have a problem slowing down sometimes. I want to hurry up and get it done. So I know that that's a piece that I need to work on. But I know that it's a journey again, and I think that helps me work through it. Another thing that would be helpful in this area is to understand the landscape, understand what we're looking at, or for me, what I'm looking at, understand what the goal is, the end goal, and what that looks like. I think that's important too, because then when we know what that looks like, we can better plan and we can better set our goals to achieve that. And then always, I think always celebrating the small wins. I think celebrating the small wins is appropriate for any area that you're working on. Now, did I did I celebrate when I made my list and I got done the things that had to be done today and I was okay with the things that were left on the list? No, I did not. But I did acknowledge it because I think it's huge. Again, for me, like, I have this issue with time. I've always had this issue with time. I don't know why, but the fact that I was able to have this long list and that I was okay not getting everything done. The pieces that I did get done were the important pieces for today. And I have to accept that and be okay with that, and I am. So that is about all that I have for today. Perfectionism, comparison, and managing expectations. 3 things that can stop us in terms of writing. It can hinder our creativity. It can hinder our progression. And so there are things that we need to definitely look at and work on. Anytime that we are stagnant, and I'm thinking for myself in terms of the perfectionism, anytime we are stagnant, not making progress, moving forward, regardless of how small that progress is, then that's something that we need to step back and take a look at. But if you're making progress, if you're moving along, it doesn't matter, if it's slow or fast. And I say that, and when I say that, this is one of those things where I give everyone else so much grace, but I don't give myself the same grace. But I'm getting there. I'm learning. It's easier to give other people grace than it is to give yourself grace, I think. Anyway, so this is a journey, you guys, and we are in this thing together. I am open to suggestions. I'm open to comments. I'm open to anything you guys want to share in terms of what you grapple with, what you struggle with, and as well from if there are some seasoned authors on here. I don't know if there are or not, but if there are some seasoned authors on here, I'd love to know how you deal with those items. I don't know what the next episode will be about. I have more notes concerning the kind of getting started phase and those mistakes that we can make on that front end. But I don't know exactly what I have next. However, it will be about 2 weeks before we do another Page One podcast. I'm going to have a special blog with a voiceover later on this week. I have some other freebies coming out. I do have 2 of my books will be free excuse me, later on in the week and going into the weekend in celebration of my birthday week. I'm trying to get the weekend in there because I know a lot of people don't have any downtime until the weekend. So you'll see a couple of my books that are free on Amazon, and then there's a couple others that I will just lower the price on. I don't have all of my books in KU. I just put I put Baby Pawn on there as well. Last time I think I had Desperate Girls in there, and I only had it on there for a short period, for the 90 days, and then I took it down. But I will have Desperate Girls on there as well as Baby Pawn, and I'm gonna see if I can get them free this at least for Saturday. We'll see, but I'm gonna announce that again on Thursday if you have a chance to listen. If not, it's okay. Don't forget about the links that are below in the notes. Definitely take a look at those freebies and grab what you can. And if you're interested, I put out there before about being a beta reader or being an ARC reader. If you're interested, please let me know. Definitely looking for creating a team that I can use as a go-to. And then obviously you get a book out of the deal, but I get the help of your feedback. So if you're interested in that, by all means reach out to me and let me know. You are listening to Bobby Lou, and this is Diary of an Introverted Author. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope to see you the next episode. Bye.